Game Up Hard Hydration. It's like your favorite sports drink and your favorite seltzer merged together became something so much better. Dave has these stats down. Dave, let them
Yes,
out.
it's a full flavored drink, only 110 calories per can, low carb. Comes in an 8-pack, 4 great flavors: fruit punch, orange, lemon lime, and grape. Enjoy some Game Up.
And if you want to speak of easy decisions, Ricky Starks made his appearance in NXT this week, like a day after his official release was announced. What did you think of this debut? I think it caused a lot of excitement in wrestling. I personally can't wait to see what's going to come this week, what's going to come, in the coming months.
So we had gotten word that Malachi Black, Miro, and Ricky Starks were no longer under contract or no longer on the AEW roster. And I heard that and I go, okay, interesting. And I didn't think anybody would show up right away. But surprise, surprise, literally within the next day or two, Ricky Starks is on NXT. He has the crowd chanted Ricky. Everybody's going crazy. But we do have to note, he and the commentators never referred to himself as Ricky Starks. So not sure if that will end up being his name, but he definitely has used the word absolute a few times. So I feel like that's going to be part of his shtick. It basically looks like the same guy. It looks like the same Ricky I've seen in the NWA, AEW. Like he looks like that star, the guy that we really like. So I'm assuming he'll get a good chance. And I remember Swerve telling a story one time on a podcast with Jericho that one time he really felt like he had momentum in WWE was in NXT when he got to work with Shawn Michaels. And it wasn't in the beginning. It was at some point someone had told him, well, you can talk to Shawn. And he realized how easy it was to talk to Shawn. And when Shawn started talking to him, he said, well, show me some stuff from before. And when Shawn watched stuff, Shawn would watch it, he'd look at it and go, oh, I see what's going on. We're not putting you in a position to succeed. You're not getting a chance to be who you are and do your stuff. And I feel like just looking at this, Shawn's already been tipped off on who Ricky Starks is because this is Ricky Starks. I don't know what name he's going to have or why he'd have a different name. We'll find out. But at the end, I feel like he's going to be in a great position to succeed.
100%. I can't wait to see what he's going to do. And Dave, we forgot to mention when we were talking about Grand Slam, I sent you that footage from supposedly behind the scenes where Tony Khan comes out for his famous talk to the crowd segment and then just the overwhelming boos. And, from everything that we've heard, that's not surprising. We got this from Rottweiler. He never changes his name. Rottweiler, thank you for tuning in. That's definitely a name I don't notice. Hopefully you're subscribing to us and catching more great wrestling action. But Dave, what were your thoughts on the booze video?
Not surprising. Tony has not really had a lot of goodwill, it feels like, with the majority of the wrestling public the last few years. Whether it's just keeping people under contract, which, again, other promotions have done, but Tony was the guy who didn't do that for a while, right? So here we are, people still love a lot of the wrestlers in AEW. So Tony's going to be the guy who probably takes the brunt of the criticism, and maybe rightfully so. He's the top guy there. It is what it is. I'm not shocked by it, but it is interesting to see because I remember being at those live shows in the early days of AEW Dynamite, and people would cheer when Tony Khan came out and looked forward to those.
Yeah, they were crazy, but they were always, people were behind them. And there was a bullshit chant, I believe, at the end of the Death Riders match, which I couldn't tell if that was story related or heat towards the company.
I think it was more they didn't like the finish, but it could also be just their guys didn't win. They wanted to see Jay White and Copeland win. Copeland, they were singing all the words to his song. Jay White was kind of the closer to home guy, being from New Zealand. So, yeah, I just feel like that's who they wanted to win. At the end of the day, the show was, one of the best crowds I've seen in a while. Everybody was super excited for it, and yet they still booed Tony Khan. So I think that says something when they're excited about your product, but they're not excited about you. Maybe it's this time, don't do that anymore. Maybe you don't need to come out and rowdy the crowd up. You know what I mean? Just stay in the back, and maybe that'll help your perception a little bit.
100%, especially when moving venues and having all that ticket, controversy behind you. But they heavily booed Tony Khan, but they're not going to boo Game Up Hard Hydration. If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.